Sorry.
Shananana. All right, so good morning, everybody. Today is Daf Nonalev, Perek Hazov, Babasio. So we're discussing the Ona. So we got to the fifth line from the top. Anon Aleph Amud Aleph. Ushpiz Kanaya, right? The host of Rav Rachama, right? People talk about Ushpizin, right? The Ushpizin, right? Often in the Gemara is the host, right? So I mean, this it implies guest and host, but yeah. There's Ushpiz Kanaya during Rachama. We just started 5 lines from the top. Excuse me, Anon Aleph Amud Aleph.
We just started.
Yeah. So Zovin Chamra V'Tov. So he sold wine, and it turns out he undersold it. Right? Ashke Dahaviyatzi. So he was upset. Samarlei, my Tivas. Why are you upset? Samarlei, Zvini Chamra V'Tai. Right? I sold wine and I made a mistake. Samarlei, Zil Hadabicha. Go ahead and Michais. Samarlei, ha. Shahai li Yaisir Michlei Shere the Tiger the Kravi. So he said to him, he said, I'm sorry? No, Aleph and Aleph. We just got to the first red line. He says, I would love to go back and give my money back, but I already passed the time where it takes to go ahead and show, other merchants or my relatives. Which you said yesterday, say an hour, right? I just made that number up. But it was less than a day and more than immediately, right? So chosen out. Anyway, so Shaj the coming there of Nachas and part of Nachas the Shiloh. So what do we do? So we're only talking about the buyer has limited time. About Ma'acher, when it comes to the seller, he's always able to go ahead and get the money back that he was ripped off on. So my time, what's the reason? The buyer always has the item in his hand. So
Before you already gave it to him.
No, the buyer. I'm saying the buyer has he now has the object in his hand, so he can go ahead and show people. He can show people. And they would tell him They would tell him whether or not he had a good deal. However, however, the seller no longer has the item in his hand, so therefore he won't be able to know. Someone will say, "Oh, he must have got that for this," because no one will bring up that subject because he's not holding the item in his hand. Because he not say the other, right? Right? He's only going to know whether he made a mistake if he happens to see the same type of item sell, on the market. Only then will he know. So in other words, he's limited time. His time is much more beyond. So therefore, he doesn't have a time limit. So the person had these
2 years from now, the price might be different than when he sold it. How do you prove anything?
Right. So you'd have to go back and say what was the value at the time, right? What was the value at the time, right? You go. So
It's all an inception.
Yeah.
I already drank it too.
Well, but maybe he could demand the money. Well, over here, he's just, even if he gets ripped off a little bit, right? So we say by Tiger that he wants all of it, right? He's not mocher. Now let's see.
Why do we say mocher only sells there?
What? So he said it because he doesn't have the item with him. So if I buy something, right, people are going to comment, "Oh, that vest is a nice vest. What'd you pay for? I paid this." Oh, you got ripped off, right? You go to Lululemon, no one's talking to them about their vest that they just sold because it's not on the rack. So they have no idea, right? And only later on, Mr. Lululemon, sees the same thing being sold or whatever it is. Only then, 3 years later, really realized what he had at the time or he didn't. So in other words, therefore, there's no time limit on the seller, only on the buyer.
Someplace in the old city of Yerushalayim for Facebook. People listen.
I heard this one coming out today. All right. Anyway, so the person had silks in his hand, right? He had his silks. He was selling Kari Shisa B'Shaveh Chamisha. He was asking for 6. It was worth 5. So the person was thinking, well, wait, if I go ahead and if I go ahead and give him 5.5, he'll go ahead and take it. So he said, I'm going to go ahead and negotiate for it to get 5.5. Also, so he was thinking, I'm going to go ahead and give him 5.5. So also, if I go ahead and give him 5.5 for something that's worth 6, right? Then Havi Mechila. So I think I think I'm steps it, right? So he says, so what happened? So he said, now 5 to 6 is no, but 5 to 5.5 is not. And he says, if I hit 5.5, it'll be mechila. So I tell the Shisa, by Ladina, he's going to go ahead and take me to din. So also came into Rav. We're only talking on a person who buys it from a store, right? Only then is a store. And where there is ona, avab lokech mi balabayis. But let's say you bought something off of balabayis and you were overcharged. Elo alav ona, there is no ona there because that has sentimental value, and for him to go ahead and be willing to sell it, so therefore he's only going to sell it for a lot of money. So therefore, right? If if it was done for 6, right, he wouldn't be able to have a claim against him because he's allowed to go ahead and sell for more if he's a balabayis. And now Gavadavinaki Kifi Lizvuni. First was also having earrings to sell. Kari Shisin, the Shavi Kamishin. So he was asking for 60, even though they were worth 50. They give him 55. Havishaki, he would take it. Also, Gavaram, a person came and he said, so he's thinking, if I give him 55, so have Mechila. So I'll go ahead and I'll pay him more than he's asking. I'll pay him 60. Therefore, I'll be able to go ahead and take him to din. And also coming to Rav Chisda, we're only talking about you ripped off by a merchant, right? But you go ahead and get ripped off of someone who's a balabais. Ain't no he doesn't have no because a personal, a homeowner basically has sentimental value and only sell it for more than it's worth. You really want my my briefcase that I use every day, I'll sell to you, for 120%, or at least, of a new one, right? Even though this one's used and this one's worth, really only half of that. eBay. So Amalei Rav Tibi Yasher, he says, yeah, I agree with this. Rabbi Elazar Yasher, he also agreed. We say just like there's a no with the head yot, right? So there's a no with the merchant. So we see that the merchant and balabais, which is actually going to be the next Mishnah. So man head yot, ela balabais, that referring to balabais. Some Rav Chisda, no, b'tzvadaisa. We're talking about, let's say, like commodities like felt or something, which is like a cheap material that's like very standard that a person wouldn't have any sort of sentimental value, that the homeowner would sell for market, now above market. But something, let's say, that he wears, which is dear to him, then he would not sell it if he was not given, a really, very good price. Fine. It's a deal you can't refuse.
So in the end, do we believe in supply and demand, or
well, we do, right? We do, but unless that there's frauding of the other person. In other words, that there's that it's not. It was let's say, I don't know, a hidden market, but something which he was right. And also doesn't apply to real estate. So if you're talking about real estate, you can't go back. Yeah. All right, let's get to the Mishnah. I didn't want us to leave early. We're going to get to the Mishnah. There's a Shem and Amon base. Yeah. We got to this Mishnah. It's the other Mishnah. Yeah. Whether it's the buyer or the seller, the person has a claim of that he was ripped off. Just as so too, there's by a merchant. No, there is no. We'll soon see why there is no when it comes to a merchant. And also Mishuta love, right, the person who was defrauded, right, who got ripped off. Yodo al Yona, he has the upper hand. Ratza he can say either you give me all my money back, no deal. Or give me back that which you ripped me off. Give me the 6 back. They ripped me off.
That's his job to know how much it costs. How can you think that a merchant shouldn't be able to rich off? That's his profession. He's a professional, so to speak, as opposed to a buying it. I don't know if it's costing you diamond. I don't know.
Right. So I mean, right. So that's why there's a shita. Some say it's just by lokach, and some say Tanakama says by both. Let's see why. So Zak the Gemara, Manani Miller, we know this verb is a ton rabbanon. We learned says you go ahead and you sell it to your fellow. Kona, I was looking at possibly. Also, no. So it says there, right? We go ahead and you purchase from him. Let me say, not go ahead and rip him off. Saying I only know if the buyer is ripped off. Right? And he knows you're selling to somebody, you're going to if the seller was ripped off, right? Or you purchase from him, you should not go ahead and rip him off. So it says you can't go rip off people when you sell to, and you can't rip off people that you buy from. You need to buy both. We need both of them. Why? If it just wrote that this seller you shouldn't rip off. This is like Alan was saying. He's saying because he knows how much it's worth. But the buyer to like kinlebizim, you say, who is not certain as to the value. Maybe maybe not. So therefore the Torah warns him also that he should not defraud. Because if it's just the buyer we know should not be defrauded. B'shum dekani dami inchis v'nisa kanisa, right? Because when you buy something, you gain something. For a person to sell something, he's lost, right? Basically lost the item out. A person who sells, it's like he lost it. So maybe I would say that he's not warned. He's already on the opposite end. He's already losing the item, and therefore, since he's losing the item, he's not considered to be a person who would have claims, because it's like he lost something. So even if you got a bad price, it's like you lost it. Nevertheless, if you lost it for the wrong price, then you get paid. Now, two dots. There is no by a merchant. Why is that? Just because he's a merchant, right? We have rules. We're I don't know what's the term, but the racist against merchants, right? Whatever that word would term, right? Where so prejudice bias or prejudice against merchants, right? Discriminating against merchants. We're talking about we're nun aleph and aleph. We're talking about like the middleman. So my time, what's the reason? The others we know say he knows what's going on. He knows the price. And really, he wants to sell for even less. Why is he selling for less? Why is he selling for below market? Because he's waiting. I want the cash now because there's another guy got to go ahead and rip off. He has a great deal. I want to jump on that, so I'll sell this for less to buy that. And then all of a sudden, he's going to go ahead and make claim to the person he sold the less for. Oh, you owe me more money. No. You did it because you wanted the cash immediately. Now he was like, he regrets the decision. Rav Ashi Amar, what does it mean there is no ona by a merchant? So ain't a b'toras ona, right? In other words, it doesn't have a toras ona. Shafilu pacha yismichle ona chayzer, right? Even less, that means no ona. I mean, it's not a sixth. I mean, a merchant, if he gets ripped off by $2 or 5%, then he can be chayzer. He can get the money back. Or he can get the additional money. And Tani Kvasi Rav Nachman, we have a price of Rav Nachman, Rav Yehuda Aimer, Thager ein lo ona mipnei shu baki. Right? There is no ona by a merchant because he's an expert and he knows exactly what he's doing. If he sold it for cheaper, it was only because he wanted to get the cash to do something else with the money, to do more business. And two dots, whoever gets ripped off, he has the upper hand according to our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says he can do it either one. He can say, you know what? Even though you ripped me off by a sixth, null and void, and everything returns. Or he says, you know what? Give me my sixth back that I overpaid. So Mani Mesnis and Lord Rabbi Nassan, Lord Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. It's not Rabbi Nassan or Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, and this is referencing this. We had a brisa, the end of Nunam Beis. Right, so we over there it was the price towards the bottom of Nunad base. So it's not like either Tana. Why is that? Our Mishnah gives the option of void the sale or give me my sixth back. Right, Ubraisa like Tony Ratza, the Braisa did not give an option according to Rabbi Nassan. Right, Rabbi Nassan says, right, he says Kana umachzir or no. You can't void out the sale, even though you got ripped off a sixth. Just you get the sixth back, but the sale is good. And our Mishnah says you have an option. And here, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Masnisa Katani Lokeach. Our Mishnah is talking about Lokeach. The Brisa Katani Meich. It says the seller over there, right? It says in the case of Rabbi Yehuda says Yad Meicher Ala Yaina. It's talking about the Meicher. Yes, you're right. I don't know who the author of our Mishnah is. It can't be Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Nassan, and any of them Mishana. I don't know who taught it. And Rabbi says Liyela Rabbi Nassan. He's really Rabbi Nassan. It says Ratza and Mishnah doesn't say there's no choice in the brisa. So Tani Nami brisa Ratza, say the word Ratza in the brisa that if he wants, he can go ahead and get his six back, or if he wants, he can just avoid the sale. And Rabbi Mali Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. Really, it is Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. Umay the Shaymas. And the question is, why is that brisa only talk about the seller? And Mishnah talking about the lokech. Umay the Shaymas. So come a first brisa. And really, that which our Mishnah left out is explained in the brisa. And Amar Rav Ashi Dikanami can also make an inference. The Tani says over there, Echad halokeach ve'echad hamaycher u'mefarish lokech. And therefore, it says over there whether the buyer or the seller, and explains only the Mishnah explains the buyer. The Shmamino is Shavia Shari Lamaycher Shmamino. So indeed, it must be that our Mishnah says that the buyer can do whichever way he wants, and therefore the Mishnah comes, the Brisa comes to follow it up and say that the seller also, if he's the one who's defrauded, he can go ahead and choose whether he wants to just avoid the sale or just get his sixth back. Itabar, new case, last medium line. So 5 lines in the bottom on Nun Aleph Amud Aleph. The last sugya of the day. Itmar ha'omer chavera al manas she'ein locha alai ono. Guy, I'm selling items, and I say, you know what? I'll do business with you, but you can't have any claims of ona on me. What?
This is, that's what I meant.
Then what?
As
Yeah. I'm gonna sell it to you as is, right? And therefore, but you can't have any claims against me. A deal's a deal, final deal, and I don't want to hear back from you. All right. So it already, there should be red flags anyway. But someone says it. Rav Omar yesh lo olav ona. The deal does not work. You can't make that deal. You can't. Shmuel Omar ein olav ona. So that's it. So and Shmuel says ein olav ona. So Shmuel says he can't have a claim of ana. We made a deal. We're talking about money here. This money's money, and the business is business. We're friends, but business is business. And therefore, you can't have claims of fraud against me. So Shmuel says the guy should, a deal's a deal. Now, Lema Rav Damakar Meir, Shmuel Damakar Yehuda. Now, as we all know, as Alan pointed out, right, Ona is halacha that's brought down in Torah, right? This is a favorite halacha that, you can't do that. So let's say Rav holds like Rav Meir because Rav says he can't go against, and Shmuel says a deal's a deal. And Shmuel Demer Rav Yehuda, the Tanya going to write out Isha. A person says to a woman, "Harei mekudesh li, I will marry you, but I know there's a shidduch crisis, and therefore amanash she'en lecha alai shar k'sisava. Now you can never have a claim of me that I'm not giving you enough food, clothing, or relations, and then I'll marry you. Just know that you're waiving those rights." And he says that she is married u'tanai batal, but the tanai doesn't work. Just like Rav, Divrei Meir, that's the opinion of Rav Meir, and Rabbi Yehuda Meir. When it comes to money matters, you can be meichel, right? You can say, "Oh, fine, you don't. I won't claim food from you. I won't claim clothing from you." The same way that in the case of a person can be meichel, if he gets ripped off, I cannot have a claim against you. So let's say Rav holds like Rav Meir, and Shmuel holds like Rabbi Yehuda. I'm the Rav, bottom line. So on the Damar, if you look at Rabbi Yehuda, I can say like Rabbi Yehuda. Ad kan lo yikom Rabbi Yehuda hasam. Rabbi Yehuda only said over there that Rabbi Shimon is of Chelas hasam. Ella tiyada become achla. He knows for sure that if he's supposed to give her food, he says, "I'm not giving you food," so she knows he's not giving her food, and she's machal, so she knows exactly what's going on, and therefore, since she knows, so she can give up on her rights to that money, i.e., on the clothing and the food. Aval, but in the case of the seller, turn the page. V'haka, the machil over here, right? So the guy thinks, okay, yeah, I won't have any claims of getting ripped off, but I know I'm a very smart guy. I won't get ripped off by this guy, right? All he has is the ball's there, and he's moving around. Those things. He doesn't. He's going to get tricked, but he doesn't know. So when he says he agrees to it, he didn't know for sure he's getting ripped off. He thought that, okay, I just won't be foolish. So that's why maybe that case is different. Shmuel Amar, opposite actually. Shmuel says, in other words, the deal works only over there. Even Koran Meir. Over there, Meir says in the case of the marriage, El Devada Ka'akir. Over there, you're definitely uprooting to something in the Torah. The Torah says you have to provide this. Over here, he's not saying, right? I'm not going to provide it. So there you're Torah. Over here, who said he's going to rip him off? So it's not Vadai going against the Torah to make that deal. to make the deal as the woman, you're going against the Torah. The Torah says man has to provide and is not providing. Over here, right? Who says gonna rip off? He just saying,
I'm not going to, you start to me if I don't.
right, but who says it's gonna right?
So it is sort of similar, because she doesn't know for sure he will do that.
Well, he's saying, no, he's saying, no, he's saying, I don't have responsibility, right? He's, in other words, he's saying, I'm not providing this for you.
If I killed you, I don't have. Not responsible. It was a reflex, so I'm not.
But that's not Davar Shem Mammon, right? That's not Davar Shem. We're talking about Davar Shem Mammon, right? Because everyone agreed that no marital relations, avada that you can't. That's not batal, right? There's Davar Shem Mammon. So yes, so there's I guess criminal court and
The usual relations in the.
Yeah, as I'm saying, right. So Rabbi Yehuda, when he made the distinction, but Davar Shem Mammon Tanai Kayim, right? Only regarding the money matters does the claim work. In other words, then a deal is a deal. But regarding the Ona, that vada doesn't work. And the question is, does the Kedushin work? Because it was based on a Tanai that doesn't work, right? Fine. So Amarav Anan 4 lines on the top. So the Didim Farshli Mine Demar Shmuel. All right, it was the same thing like Shmuel. Ha'im Chavera Amanash Shein L'Chalai Ona. If one says you can have no claims against me, then ain't no, then that's when Shmuel says he can't have a claim. And we made a deal. However, if he says I'll sell this to you, Amanash Shein Bo Ona, that there is no such thing as fraud, right? Which is not true. So it's like a almanas, like a claim. Like I'll sell you to this almanas that tomorrow's a sunny day. I'll sell this to you almanas that there's no onam in a term.
There's no such thing.
Right, there's no such thing. She'ein bo ona. Then hayesh bo ona. That doesn't work. Why? Because the condition wasn't fulfilled.
You can't. If you say you can't
Right.
say it doesn't work.
Right, exactly. So now, if it was she'ein lucha, no, you can't have a claim for me, but you recognize that there does exist another Torah. That's okay. But what Shmuel will say, that person says, "I'll sell it to you in the condition that is, there's no such." There's no such thing, then that doesn't work. So one who goes ahead, he does business with based on trust. In other words, like this, I have a salesman, and I'm going to go ahead and I trust Eddie to go ahead and sell my wares. So he's going out, and basically you're going to go ahead and hustle, and for that hustling, you get paid, right? So in that case. He says, okay, I'll do it, but you can't have no onami. Ain't law of ona, right? Then there is no ona. You can make the deal. In other words, I say like this: that now is that I will let's say you come back and he says, great news, I just sold your Michael Jordan rookie card. I got, we bought it for 40 cents in 1983, and great news, I have a great return. I sold it for $8, right? So you got ripped off. So if over here we make the condition, we make a condition before they're selling that, there can be no claim of either you sold it for, right, you got ripped off, or you sold more and you owe me more money. However,
in other words, he gave it like on consignment.
Right. What's that? You're going to go ahead and sell it for me, and I'll pay you for your services, but you're selling it for me. Right.
That's consignment.
Consignment is if I don't sell it, you can take it back.
Oh,
Right.
Right.
Right. So the next one will actually be a little more. We'll soon see. The next one will be a little more like that. So the Rav Damar. So the Rav Damar Ana Damar Yafila Rabbi Yehuda. But so Rav, right, who says that it doesn't work, right? And even according to Rabbi Yehuda holds, so Hamani, so how can you explain this over here according to Rav that there should be Ona in this case? So it must be that Rav holds like Rav Meir, who holds that Tanai was batal, Shmuel Damar Rabbi Yehuda, and Shmuel is like Rabbi Yehuda. And Rav Amar lo kasha kan b'stam. If you say stam in this case, and as you don't specify, the item, you just there's no so then that doesn't work. However, kan b'farish. But if you go ahead and you explain exactly, is this item right? It's going to be sold to you for more, and you can't have a claim. Then such a claim works. The Tanya is going to brisa. B'med v'amurim b'stam. We're talking about stam avab and mefarish. In other words, if he explains it to him b'farish, The seller tells the buyer, this thing I'm selling to you for 200. I know it's only worth 100. I don't know.
So I'm gonna pay extra for it.
Right. So I'm gonna sell it. I'm selling it to you for 200, but it's only worth 100. I don't want to sell it. You sure you want it? It's only worth 100. For 200, I'll do it, but you can't have any claim against me. He knew exactly what he was doing. He told him it's worth 100. I'm selling to you for 200. You want? We can't have a claim. That works. So do a buyer. Tells the seller. This thing I know from you, B'mana, right? That that I'm buying for 100. I know it's worth 200. Then you can't have any claims of ana, saying lo of ana. So there's no ana in that case. So we see over here clearly in this bright said that if one knows what he's getting into, exactly that he's getting ripped off in this specific item, then you could waive the rights on a specific item. You can't waive an item of, and if I ever rip you off or any sales. So tell me about it. Hanaisim and Amana wants to go ahead be Amana. Hare ze lo yichashev esara be Amana. That's a yafe b'shaveh. He shouldn't go ahead and do one based upon I'll pay you for a fee for selling it, and the other one, this is like you buy this item off me for X amount, and then you go ahead and sell it for whatever you like and keep the rest. Now, you can't do that. Rashi learns why, because that once the yafa, right, the good stuff that gets sold immediately. So they get sold immediately. So therefore, he gets the money then, and that money will appear that it was like ribbis because it'll take the other stuff longer to do for his services, and it looks like the guy is getting paid or is able to get more money because he's all that to the money. Says, zev be'amana. Either both of them are, all the wares he's given is done on be'amana, on trust, that he trusts him to sell for the best price and he'll pay him for his service. Or basically you buy it off me and then you go ahead and resell it and get whatever you like out of it. The nice thing is he also has to go ahead and pay pay him for his shipping, or schar gamal, and then for the camel and schar pundak, and also for if you have to stay overnight, schar atzma ain't a night, but he doesn't pay him for his services because he already paid him a schar. So shalom scharo. Because he already paid him his, he already paid him. So Skar Mashalim make a yayigle. What do you mean? When did he go ahead and give it? Samarav Papa Bitsaruye Davi Arbel man. In other words, let's say when he sells the garments, so every let's say these cheap garments, so every 100 he sells, he gets to keep 4. So since he's getting throughout, therefore he doesn't have to pay him an extra fee. All right, we'll stop here at the Mishnah. Shabbos, Sunday, Mitzvah. We